Welcome to the Job Fair, where we give job seekers and employers the space to tell their own stories and bring our listeners along for the ride. We're your hosts, Doug and Shauna. Let's dive into it.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Job Fair.
Going for that three-peat, baby. So for today's topic, we got a real good one for you today. The pros and cons of employment experiences with big companies versus smaller ones.
Yes, I'm excited to dive into this one. I know we both have fairly seasoned backgrounds in this department with career experiences across the spectrum.
Season, huh? I don't know. You got to speak for yourself with that one, Shauna. I'm still a young and wild spirit at heart.
Wild spirit. All right. Well, to kick things off, as always, let's dive into our agree to disagree segment.
All right. College debt should all be forgiven.
Ooh, good one. I know you're going to make me take a stand. I'm going to agree. And I know you're going to come at me with that, but I agree because I had student loans that I had to pay back over time, and I would love for those to be gone. I also think it makes college a little more accessible. However, I do understand that schools are a business, but for this, I'm going to say that I agree, Doug.
And as someone who's been really burned by the predatory practices of this industry as far as financing, I'm still going to disagree with this because nothing in life is free. We all have to understand that. And I just think that if college debt was completely forgiven, who foots that bill? Like we do as taxpayers. And also it just sets a precedent. It devalues all the professionals, the people that earn a living, the professors, teachers in academia. I just don't think that that's a good look for the sustainability of the education system. So I disagree.
Okay. We're not gonna spice it up on this one. So I'm gonna move us to the next one. When people succeed, it's because of hard work. Luck has nothing to do with success.
Ooh, this one is, I'm gonna have to disagree because honestly, I think that luck, it's the opposite. Luck has everything to do with success. And to me, one of the biggest subsets of luck is timing. I think that's undeniable. Like, I mean, yeah. I'll fight with everybody over that one.
Yeah, I would agree with you there as well as disagree with you on this statement as well. I do think timing is everything. I do think, though, that when things happen and they land, then that hard work comes in for people to succeed in whatever their definition of success is.
Yep,
so,
the hard work is a special sauce. Agree, for sure. All right. Some level of DEI effort should be required for all companies.
Oh, another good one. Agree. Yes. I want to say actually strongly agree. However, I caveat that because I do think that what that looks like, what those DEI efforts look like, differ from the resources of the company, the size of the company. Perfect for our topic today. Large versus small companies. What does that look like? But yes, I absolutely agree with this statement.
And I agree as well. It definitely looks different on a case-by-case basis. Look, some folks go into it with DEI already running through their veins is how they're building the company out. And in those instances, you may already have diversity and inclusion built into how you recruit it from day one. So it looks different for every company. So yeah, agree.
Cool. All right. So taken away from some of these businessy ones, last one, end this out. Champagne is better than wine.
Disagree. 1,000%. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I think that there's a reason why people don't drink carbonated beverages for everything. So I think that wine is just more agreeable with more
Doug
things.
Hates the bubbles.
I don't hate the bubbles, but there's a time and place for the bubbles. Let's put it like that.
In Shauna's world, there's always a time and place for bubbles. I am 100% a champagne person. It's actually the only alcohol I drink these days. So for me, bubble it up, champagne all the way. Agree to disagree, Doug.
Don't invite me to your dinner party.
Oh, well, all right. Well, that was another fun one. I know you mentioned it already, but topic at hand, we're excited to move into this one. As you mentioned before, the pros and cons of experiences in small, medium, and large companies.
Absolutely. All right. So I think we kick things off first by quickly establishing what we mean by small, medium, and large companies. All right. So small companies are those with 0 to 100 employees with less than 50 million a year in revenue. Medium is 100 to 1,000 with 50 million to a billion in revenue. Quick call out that these two first demographics are referred to as SMBs, small and medium sized businesses. And then large companies are considered anything with 1,000 employees or more and doing revenues of over a billion a year.
Wow, that's interesting. I don't think I ever knew that particular breakdown. I think I was in my mind was like, that sounds like a small, large company. Yeah.
For real, for real. I mean, it definitely puts things in perspective for me and my small business, if you will, if I can even call it that now with that criteria. But anyway, there's a lot of conventional wisdom on this topic that we want to click refresh on and, of course, dig into some of our own experiences and perspectives.
For sure, Doug. And I think, let me also add some context to that because I think it's important to define those business sizing categories or criteria, because I think that affects how financial decisions are made, how tech needs are defined, and how companies decide to move forward on solutions. So,
Absolutely.
For example, small to medium sized businesses are more likely to focus on solutions that save money and are easy to use, since budgets are usually often a significant factor in decisions. As for large companies, enterprise companies, those decisions may include security and some features ahead of that price.
Absolutely. That all makes sense for me. Small potatoes versus big potatoes in a nutshell.
And I also think for me, this topic has been sort of eye-opening throughout my career experience, because I think for myself and possibly some fellow millennials, my parents' experience was the golden standard, where you find that good company to work for, you stay for 30 years, and then you ride off into the sunset with a really nice pension plan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You retire with your white picket fence. Yeah, sure. All right. So millennials and older generations can definitely relate. All right. But I'd say not to write off those Gen Zers and younger in this conversation. I personally have found that a lot of them are way more conservative than most people give them credit for. Like, it's strange. But anyway, to draw an analogy, I see the 2024 impact of working for a blue chip company as almost similar to paying for things in cold hard cash. There's many newer, more respected paths and to success and getting your items, quote unquote, paid for, like crypto, like Zelle, but universally, cash, or AKA that blue chip company association, is still what's king.
Yeah, and I hear that loud and clear. I think it's no secret that when it comes to candidate value in the job market, the prestige of companies you've worked for holds a ton of weight, even surpassing really sometimes concrete skills, degrees, and achievement.
Yeah, so to make more sense of this, I'm going to peel back a few layers and explore the most tangible differences in the hiring experience, work culture, and long-term career impact in my experience with big versus smaller companies.
Yeah, and let's not forget, since those elements are pretty complex and variable, we'll be speaking through the lens of our own research and our own humble experiences.
Absolutely. Thanks for that underscore there, Shauna. So without further ado, here are our insights from our experiences working across the gamut of different size companies. All right. Hiring. I've seen hiring processes at smaller companies generally run laps around bigger ones, which just, I think by nature, the bigger companies have more red tape to work through. Work culture. I've seen smaller companies take more of an all hands on deck, gung ho approach to a wider range of tasks. For me, there's also been more space because of this to form stronger personal bonds and work through less corporate politics that you see at more of the bigger companies. The bigger the company, my experience again, likely the bigger the average team and percentages of less than exceptional people.
Except for the team that you and I worked on, we were exceptional, right, Doug?
Oh yeah. Simply though, because you can't hire 50,000 unicorn employees at one company. It just doesn't work like that. And sometimes they're just going to be people that underperform. All right. And then people competition is just naturally, a need for visibility to advance. So the last piece here is career impact. At small companies, you could have a clearer path towards making real business impact that could mean something longer term in your career versus a possibly more indirect and likely convoluted and cross-functional path towards impact that is properly seen and credited at the larger companies.
Yeah, and it's a good roundup for smaller companies. What comes to mind is what flexibility is at smaller companies. In my experience, I have found that I have had more flexibility though at larger companies simply because there's more resources and possibly just more staffing, right? So I could take things like PTO and feel comfortable about it or set boundaries depending on the nature of my work.
Yeah, I mean, my experience is smaller companies is buyer beware with that flexibility thing. With great flexibility comes great responsibility or greater responsibility, or so I've heard. But seriously, there's have been reports of things like the unlimited PTO and the agile work environments being used as leverage to justify just straight up toxicity in these workplaces.
That's fair. That's fair. But let's not bash large companies. Let me jump into them. It's a space I know particularly well. So let me dive in here a little bit. So first up, let's call it what it is, Doug. Large companies have perks. Perks, perks, perks. We love perks. I know these well. And while they're really nice and amazing to have, I've also seen it get in the ego of some employees, dare I say, being out of touch with other industries and fosters a sense of entitlement sometimes, but we love perks.
Yeah, I mean, you tech people in your perks, man. I tell you, it's a whole little culture, and people online, dry cleaning and free gym. Oh.
All right, stepping away from perks, an advantage I've seen for large companies as well. It's opportunity for advancement in your career, right? While that means you may have to stand out more to be noticed, there's likely more roles available which you can choose from internally, possibly because they're functioning in just a larger scope of business.
I mean, I don't know. I got to throw my hands up on this one because honestly, the advancement thing, there's so many politics everywhere, small and big, and it's just like you gotta kiss up to somebody to move up in most places. That's just how it is.
Fine, fine. But large companies do come with a well-known brand name, right? That big company backing on a resume. I've seen actually a lot of discussion debating if adding ex Google, ex Tesla, or et cetera on your LinkedIn profiles means
Oh boy.
anything. I, for one, say it does for different reasons, just by it
Yeah,
shows the
yeah.
interview process you went through and the people you had to partner with, the
I
scope.
guess, but LinkedIn people love that. It's like the new norm. I think it's, what the younger people call today now is really clout chasing, but for those of us who know that term.
All right, but large companies have spent millions of dollars building that brand. They've also built a story around their company culture and the talent that they hire to deliver a globally known product or service. And so when folks see that name on your resume, in their mind, they're already attaching what they know of that company culture to your performance and working in those environments. But also, large companies do tend to be more stable. And while at any company, you can find yourself on the wrong side of the economy. If there is
Yikes.
a layoff, I know, if there is a layoff though, like so many that are happening, there is a chance that you'll get that severance package.
Man, that's that. Heard stories of the 70 for sure. No lies detected there. I think that's definitely one of probably the biggest perk of dealing with a bigger company is getting let go and a departure gift. But
A
yeah,
departure
so
gift.
I will say this though, this post-tech, post-COVID goalpost will continue to move. The traditional perks of larger companies they're being pulled back. Everything being said, they're being pulled back actively and changing. But the prestige and the wow factor remain intact and probably will be the most constant factor to consider moving forward in dealing with these big companies.
Totally agree with you there. I feel like we can go down this deep hole of conversation again, as always. Let's take a breather. Let's revisit this topic again across the show. All right, let's wrap this up with a bow, some takeaways. We want to leave everyone with two big takeaways. For me, before even starting to think about that best decision for yourself, be sure to take inventory of the most important factors that will support the short, medium, and long-term fulfillment and happiness in your career. It's different for everyone, literally, and can evolve so quickly and so rapidly.
Say that loud for people in the back, please, Shauna. But I'm not serious. I couldn't have said that better myself. All right. And second takeaway I'll give you is I just want to drop this classic millennial era adage on y'all. Do what you need to do so that you can do what you want to do. It's just, to me, it's that simple. I think it's important to remember that we are social creatures, and big companies, their intrinsic value really lies in their ability to create a level of social proof about you. And if you can get into, some of that experience under your belt, I just think you're much better positioned to be able to take those bigger swings and bigger risks down the line that can land you a grand career slam.
A grand slam career, spoken from Doug. But speaking of small businesses, please take a second to check ours out at thejobfair.com. That's FARE. Shoot us a message. We'd love to have you on our virtual set to share your career or a company's valuable and unique story.
And until then, thanks everyone. We'll see you for episode 4.
Thanks everyone. That's a wrap.